We're live. All right, guys. Hello. Welcome on into the Pegasus Actual Podcast. My name is Drew Taylor, aka Supreme Heretic, from Bounding into Comics, and of course, this awesome channel. I am joined by the usual suspects, my co-hosts Brian the Gravedigger, Script Doctor PhD, author Stephen Walton, and hopefully coming along the way somewhere we will have Bear Nerd Fun.
He's shitting in the woods. We can't hear it, but we know he's there.
Yeah, exactly. but yeah, he's hopefully on his way somewhat momentarily. But anyways, we got a lot to talk about tonight. We've got the episode 6 Degrees of Separation that we're going to break down for you. And we also have some thoughts on the, the first very crappy.
You're not allowed to have thoughts, Drew.
Yeah. I'm honestly starting to think that that's the way things are now, dude.
You are a post-40-year-old man. You are not allowed to have any opinions, you racist bigot. Sorry.
I know. God, I'm such a bigot. No, but,
right. God, it sucks getting old. Can't even have your own thoughts anymore.
You don't get wise, you get more bigoted.
I do not in any way want to derail the discussion, but I have to lead this thing up because it's driving me crazy all day. The fact that, all right, we've now seen Bad Robot blow up 2 iconic franchises, Star Wars and now Star Trek.
Oh, they started with Star Trek first.
And for those of you that don't know, if you haven't watched episode 5 of Picard, I will just warn you that if you are the typical Star Trek fan, you enjoy the theme of hope and the way that Star Trek was put together. This is not the show for you, and you will be absolutely 100% ticked off, disappointed, shaking your head like WTF. Because this episode will make you say, what the frack?
And if you do that, it shows that you are an ist and an ism, and you have phobes. Yeah. You're not allowed to not like this.
I hear there's a cream for phobes.
It's the price of a McLaren every month, right?
But I have been so unbelievably angry all day long after I watched episode 5 of Picard. So I just want to give fair warning to our audience out there, because a lot of you are Star Trek fans as well as being BSG fans or Star Wars fans, or you enjoy the science fiction genre, and we all love it. And to see things disrespected in this manner, it's just, oh God, it's infuriating. And again, I just want to go on record as saying I gave this show a chance. I tried to stay open-minded, even though I saw the signs of suckage and just terrible writing at the beginning. But after seeing this episode, oh no. I'm launching a full spread of quantum fucking hatred.
Oh, damn.
So from here on out, I am going to be one of the most outspoken critics of Star Trek Picard. So, yes, I am coming out and showing my allegiance to the fact that, this Star Trek sucks.
Will you be making videos on this, Drew?
They don't catch much traction, Drew. I'm warning you. All right, my first Picard video got like 250 views quick, and they have gone steadily down.
Actually, you know what? I can have more classic rants doing streams about it than I ever could videos. So To be honest, I probably enjoy the stream format more, but we'll see. We'll see. I've got some things working on. I want to give a shout out to the great George Peter Gatsis, because I have some things in the works, like possibly a new intro. So I do want to make a video soon, because I have an actual intro now, courtesy of
nice.
George, and big love and respect to him.
Yeah, I'll give George some big love.
But yeah, I didn't want to derail the given topic, because this is a BSG show. We are all about Battlestar here for the next couple hours, and I just needed to get that off my chest at the beginning. It was a needed rant, you guys, and I so appreciate you for listening to it. So, Brian the Gravedigger, Script Doctor PhD, and author Stephen Walton, how was your day? What are your thoughts?
Oh man, I had a pretty good day actually. Are we talking on the card, or are we talking about this episode?
No, we're just talking in general. We'll get into the episode in a second, but if you want to respond to the rant, go right ahead.
I completely agree, man. I'm tired of seeing people take characters that we love and hold dear and just shitting all over them for the sake of ratings and popularity. And it's not even their target audience, just like you said earlier. It's like, why are you aiming for that? If this show is about hope and acceptance, then why does it matter? That's my 2 cents. That's all I really have to add without getting too many expletives thrown in there.
Tubi in 323. He's loving my avatar. You're looking great, Drew. Thanks. I wish I looked like Starbuck. Oh my God, Tubian.
I would touch myself all the time.
Oh, good Lord.
That's one body I wouldn't mind trading into for a day.
Yeah. So any thoughts? Any thoughts, Script Doctor, on that rant?
Well, what can I say?
Exactly.
I saw the episode twice today because I'm conducting a review of it. It's pretty bad. It does a disservice not just to the characters but to the ideas that they bring in, which actually show potential. Aside from the I guess Borg organ transplant stuff, which is absolutely stupid because they don't do anything with it. The other aspects of it, like 7 of 9 being kind of an outcast of the Federation, trying to bring law to a lawless area, that's an interesting idea. Yeah, that's about the only interesting idea they had there. And unfortunately, they technically fridged 7 of 9 in this episode. She's treated as an object to the point where she even offers herself as a bargaining chip. And is treated as such.
Wait, they objectified?
They did. A female writer wrote an episode of Star Trek where she objectified the female character.
No, but it's okay because it was a female writer, right?
Yeah, so she gets. Yeah, she's allowed.
Yeah.
She's allowed. Don't forget.
They tried to do something with the relationship between her and Icheb, but Manu wasn't in it, which was so weird because last I checked, he's Icheb. So,
yeah, exactly.
Man, you're talking about the one.
And then they got some sort of Peter Capaldi lookalike to replace the original Maddox.
Yeah, which I can accept the swap with Maddox. The thing with Manu was unforgivable.
I don't know. Like that original actor, the original actor for Maddox is quite. I mean, he's a professor of acting, I think, and he's really good at it. And he doesn't do much character work, so we know he would have been available. So I don't know why they didn't bother to bring him back for continuity purposes.
We didn't wait. So we got a fake Maddox.
Fake Maddox.
Yeah, Brian Brophy didn't come back, or at least wasn't asked.
Yeah, fake Maddox, fake Icheb.
Yeah, he wasn't the original actor.
No, the other actor was actually pretty good, but he reminded me of Peter Capaldi, after a weekend bender.
He would have played a good aristocratic Roman.
Yeah.
And the other part too is I don't like the the childlike nature that these adult characters are acting as. Picard was trying to act like a kid with a French accent. I don't know why. The melodrama in it, the whole video recording of them making cookies in the past. Like, I know a lot of adults. I don't know any that ever behaved like that, because they behaved like they were second or third year college kids.
So they're all smoking Raffi's crack leaf.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
So, just to kind of wrap it up, guys, because we are going to get into BSG.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but just 1 second. I haven't had a chance to see this episode, Drew. So I'm still stuck on the last episode in this giant elf tree. Is that where I'm still stuck with the elfulans, and I'm afraid to move forward. You guys are scared.
Oh, don't worry, the elf doesn't do anything.
I kept expecting to see some Keebler cookies come out or something. Because you know them fudge wafer Keebler cookies.
Strikes,
Good stuff.
Yeah, EL Fudge was the other one.
Yeah.
The thing is though, man, seriously, I think after this episode, it'll be clear. And if you are a longtime Star Trek fan, whether you picked up Star Trek during TNG or whether you picked it up from TOS
or a coma,
you will see this show and this next episode of Picard, and you will be, if you have any sort of high regard for Star Trek, that you knew it as, you will absolutely just be incensed after you watch it, and that's where I'm gonna leave it at. But
I need to feel better about myself.
But we're gonna get into Battlestar. Thank God. And again, oh man.
Remember when sci-fi was written good? Battlestar remembers.
Yes, it does.
Remember berries?
Raquel,
Grace Park saved me.
Wonderful. Raquel Briggs is in the chat. Raquel, it's great to see you. Very, very happy to have you here, my friend. And Orbital Nation, PJ's in the chat. Michaela PJ in the chat.
Now this is what I want to know, Drew. Real quick, I'm sorry. If PJ is upset, then I know it's a real thing right now.
Oh, PJ was upset.
Oh yeah, he was.
That's the measuring stick, because PJ's like the cool cat in the room, who doesn't show too much emotion. He's always polite and nice. When he frosts at the mouth, I know something's effed up.
Oh man, Jay, Sci-Fi Nation, man, it's good to see you, buddy. Dude, one of these times, Jay, we'll have to get together and we can have a debate, my friend. That sounds good. But yeah, big props to Sci-Fi Nation. Hi, I see Melanie in the chat. Good to see you.
Hello.
And Sci-Fi Nation for sure. We'll have to do that, dude. Your channel or mine, doesn't matter, baby. Your channel or mine. All right, let's get into 6 degrees of separation. So I thought with this episode, my God, again, it really showcased Tricia Helfer's acting chops, and this is still, mind you, early on. So she still doesn't have a whole lot of experience in the business, right? So, I mean, she just absolutely, again, slays in this episode, because she's not only playing one version of 6, but hello, there's a whole nother one and another one.
And her lip tremble could slay the strongest of men.
Dude,
oh my God. My God. Just
like in the beginning when she's talking to Gaius and she's just giving him that whole school teacher routine, it's like, wow. And like later on, you get to see her play the diminutive character, and oh man, it's killer. Like her acting is so amazing.
If Trisha playing angry, if she's playing happy, if is playing intimidating or scared or anything, it's always sexy. I don't know how she does it.
A lot of
You're
it's in her
forgetting not
voice.
only is it sexy, there's a little bit of that vulnerability there too.
Sultry, right?
And it's believable.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing actress.
She has such a damn amazing range, and I'm just so impressed every time that I go through, and you can sit back when you've seen these episodes as many times as I have, and if you're a BSG fan like most of us in chat and most of us here on panel, when we watch it, we've seen these so many times. So the luxury that we have is you could sit back and just appreciate the performance and just look at it from the performance aspect. And when you key in on Tricia Helfer, my goodness, it's just like, especially coming out of the gate like she did in the business with her sort of, inexperience. It wasn't, she didn't look inexperienced one bit.
Well, she'd been getting credits in acting for about 4 or 5 years by this point.
Yeah.
Like she's been around. This wasn't her first role. So like whatever experience she did prior to, starting to actually get seen, it's definitely showing through here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. But I mean, she was
the way her and James play off each other is really interesting too, because watching both of their dichotomy is, it's so killer, because like it's like they balance each other out excellently.
James Callis too. My God, can we take a moment and appreciate how good James Callis was? I mean,
absolutely.
God, he was so good as Baltar.
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly. I think it was last week or the week before, where like, if he isn't thinking with his southern head, then he's a very weak character. But when he is that more assertive character, holy crap!
When he asserts his masculinity.
Oh yeah, heaven forbid,
Yeah.
Yeah, Trisha was in The Eventual Wife in 2000. Jeremiah TV series in 2002 for 2 episodes. She was in CSI in 2002, White Rush in 2003, and then Battlestar Galactica. So yeah, the script was right. She had a number of roles before that, but Battlestar seems to be her first steady role.
Yeah. So she had a little bit of credit on her resume, which was good, beforehand. But this was her first really big role.
Yeah, back and started in 2002. Actually, 2000. So she played in a short.
A woman that personifies the ZZ Top song "Legs."
Oh my God! Hey, ZZ Top's coming out with a new album, and they're going to be on tour.
That's like
I've seen them.
Yeah, the phrase "legs for days" describes this lady.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Great. Like, I don't tackle gazelles. I don't go after giraffes, but my little short ass would go after that. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, any of you guys seen ZZ Top?
Never.
I haven't seen them live before. No.
I've seen them live. I've seen one of their concerts from their Recycler tour.
Oh,
it was cool watching them recycle themselves. It was cool.
Nice.
It was a show, literally, within a show. But yeah, Legs. Love that song. Personifies her legs for sure.
Yeah, then this is definitely a Tricia Helfer episode. All the way around, she plays 2 different characters. Maybe it's 2 different characters, but in name it is 2 different characters.
All right. So why don't you go ahead, Stephen, and lead us into the episode synopsis, and we'll start to get into breaking it down.
Well, the synopsis of this episode basically is Baltar has a crisis of faith again because he is very atheist. He's a very he's an intellectual scientist, so he's a very atheist, and the person we have dubbed as Caprica Angelica, which is the angel-like creature, or the woman that only Baltar can see, starts having an argument with him, which turns into him again, stating that he doesn't believe in her god, and she abandons him, which leads to, again, in the second episode, a series of events that lead him down a dark road where he could possibly be exposed as the traitor and killed as a traitor, which leads eventually to his redemption by the end in Angelica's eyes. There's also a subplot that involves Caprica Sharon and Hilo, kind of running with that subplot as we have in the previous episodes. There's also another subplot about the fighter that Starbuck had taken and escaped that planet from, and Chief Tyrrell and Callie and a couple of people are trying to get it to operate correctly, which it eventually it does with the help of Kara. But there's a cute little scene we'll get into later involving Boomer that really shows, it solidifies my belief that Tyrrell has believed that she is a Cylon from, I'd say, episode 1. So that's the basic synopsis. Is that dead air? Did I not say enough? Do you want me to say more? Because I can always put up.
That was a very, very apt synopsis. So let's break a little bit of that down. I really liked the urgency and stakes that went with Baltar on this. As soon as the premise kind of kicked off with the accusation, not only does he start cowering and desperately trying to defend himself, but also ineffectually doing so. His entire behavior is brilliantly on point with the motivation, which is he knows he's guilty, but not for this. This is not the evidence to actually prove his guilt. Like, he knows about that. So that's what he's kind of got this tug of war with, which is quite fascinating, because every action that he takes, every word he speaks is all about, this evidence is fake. I'm not a traitor because of this. I'm a traitor because of what's in my pants and my lack of discipline.
Right.
And he can't, of course, expose that because of Tricia Helfer's other character that has come in almost instantly once she leaves. And I like the fact that it's a pure manipulation job against Baltar to challenge his convictions and force him to accept her perspective by basically threatening his life. It's very kind of religious extremist tactic, and I loved watching him suffer through it.
Did you guys catch the fact that he really brought this all on himself, because I'm calling her Angel 6. Baltar was goading her.
Yeah, he was. It was something like, I've become involved in my own church of the Cylon detector.
Yes, yeah.
What was his line? He spouted off at her, and she gave that very chiding remark of, "Why must you always blaspheme?" or something like that, guys.
Yeah.
And then he went to that. I'm sorry.
When he accepted, basically, he was just giving lip service, and that's what really pissed Angel 6 off.
Oh yeah.
That's when she disappeared.
Yeah, and when she did disappear, he was very nonchalant about it. He said, "Maybe I'll dream up another, maybe a brunette."
Yeah.
And one comes knocking on his door.
Oh yeah, like that. I loved that. That his
gets him in trouble.
Yeah, his talking inside of his head never actually stays inside of his head. He pops that line off to Candace. I can't remember her character name for the life of me right now, but she just has that whoa, because she's just opening the door to get his attention. That you need to come to CIC ASAP, you know.
So you brought him my future ex-wife. So.
Why do you think it wouldn't work between you two, Steven? Come on, man, you're a good guy.
Well, she'd get tired of me, and there'd be another one. There'd be another one waiting in the wings, and I can't be selfish. I can't just keep myself just to myself. You know, I've got to spread the love.
You goddamn hippie. Oh, that free love.
Oh no, yeah, we only got to see Candace in one little part, and I mean, I know that further down the line we get more. I really do enjoy that actress. I think she's gorgeous, and I like her. Her. She appears weak, but she's a very strong character. I think
Yeah, absolutely.
Officer Anastasia Duwala.
Yeah, Duwala.
Petty Officer Duwala was awesome. And
Yes.
she, God, later in especially, like, oh God, see that's the thing with the show.
We can't talk about it. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I started it. I'm sorry.
I want to jump ahead so much, and it's just like, but yes, needless to say, later on, she plays, God, such a vital role in a key situation, and I want to say more, but when we get to the episode, it'll do it. It'll be a two-parter, and it'll be from season 2. That's all I gotta say. But getting back to the
get yourself a rubber band for around your wrist, and every time you want to talk about it, snap it.
no kidding.
And it feels like you're riding the brakes trying to go 5 miles an hour. It's like, oh man, we got all this good info right here, but oh my God, the later stuff.
I know.
I think the whole point of Angel 6 is she's trying to get Baltar to embrace God.
Well,
but you see, if she just would have showed him naked pictures and says, "This is God, come on, let's go," he'd have been all fine. Let's go, let's do it.
No, I don't think that was enough. Because she was leading him with sex the entire time.
Yeah.
I mean, even at the end of the episode, I think that pretty much that was his reward, and our reward for watching the whole episode. Not that was the difficult task.
But it also shows the desperate tactic she took in order to just try and get him to come to her way of thinking, which is incredibly sinister, and I relished in it because it was really fun just to watch him suffer. And
yes,
they managed to inject some balanced comedic tone and levity from this character's desperation.
The writing was awesome during certain scenes in this episode are just perfect because they're rewritten in a way that it like you get the context of it, but it's also new.
Well, see, another thing that's important to note here is the fact that by the time you get when we get to the very end of the show and when we get to Daybreak Part 1 and Part 2, when we get to that last season and that last episode arc, it's so interesting to see where the 6 that Baltar's seeing in his head the whole time is really and truly sort of his own making in the entire time.
I got an insight on that.
And go ahead, Bear.
Basically, what you're talking about, Baltar is under the impression the construct he and Angel 6 play in is his fantasy. It's not. It's basically the God/angel room. He didn't create it. She did, and the God, whoever's God in that universe created it, and they're putting things in his head, try to steer him along the way they want him to go.
And honestly, the whole aspect of him of her torturing him is kind of angelic in the way that I would see it from an outside observer looking into the monotheistic belief system. Because in a lot of stories involving angels, like they can be your worst enemy. They're warriors of God. They're like you. They're there to lead you or to smite you, and she has that fiery
point. That is a killer point, Stephen. And see that's another thing that just you want to talk about such a groundbreaking and different thing at the time on television that people didn't often visit was the fascinating concept of polytheism versus monotheism, and that whole discussion. And that's what was so cool about the show, and one of the things that made it so unique and different, because you had that, and my God, again, everybody at the beginning, when we're watching this episode in real time, see, we just figured, okay, this 6 is just another part of the Cylons. Well, guess what? She's really not.
My question is really from the moment that Godfrey appears, which is the 6.
Shelley, yeah.
Yeah, Shelley. My question is, was that Caprica Angelica, or was that Angel 6?
I don't think that it was.
No.
I
don't know if it was either of them.
I think
No?
you're onto something, Steven. I think it was a manifestation.
That's what I was thinking. That's the impression I got.
See,
Because she just disappeared, like poof, gone.
Right.
But she left glasses behind.
Yeah, she did.
yeah, I can't agree with that, because she genuinely doesn't know who he is. Because if you go back and she believes what she's saying
Mm-hmm.
when he finally makes it to the CIC for his initial accusal, and you can see God, she killed it with this one. The shock
conviction
in her eyes, and she is clenching her jaw. Anytime he goes to touch her, or anytime he's near her, you can watch her clenching her jaw the whole time. I don't believe that this 6 actually knew what was what.
Hmm.
And I have a feeling that because they had that captured raider on their ship, it might have been acting as a beacon and maybe activating and deactivating the embedded Cylons in the fleet.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I don't believe this one was a.
No, I don't think this was a silent model at all. I think you guys are onto something with the fact that it could have been a physical manifestation, because of the fact that
I think Brian, Steven, and myself, I think we're all right. I think we're right. I think it's a construct, but it doesn't know. It wasn't programmed to know.
She's a sleeper agent, and I think when she was with Adama in that room, she was active. She was connected, and then she just turned it off as soon as she left, and that was how she's able to maintain the ruse.
And
but I don't think in later episodes there was even
a mention of her,
a reference to this one, because at least okay, they give you background a lot of times where they'll have like the 6s will sort of have a record, because we'll be visiting episodes later on down the road in later seasons where Cylon models start to reference back to other ones, other copies of themselves where they interacted with memories, whatever, and you'll understand. So there's kind of a lineage where ones went to download, so on and so forth, and there's no, like I said, there's no trail back to the Shelley Godfrey one, which again, it lends credence to the fact that, was she a manifestation, or was she an actual Cylon model? Because time when she appeared was out of nowhere.
Or did Boxy smuggle her off Galactica?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
This is how Boxy died.
This is how Boxy did it. Mm-hmm. He smuggled her off, and he died in her escape, in her clever escape.
And that's why we don't see either of them again. It was a botched escape.
See, I feel bad.
That's why the glasses were only left behind.
Yeah, I've had my head up my own backside this week. I haven't really had a chance to check out the deleted scenes for this one and see if that was ever actually properly addressed.
Oh man, let's see if it's and also check for Boxy, right? You gotta do a Boxy check.
Yeah, we got to put that on the list. We got to for the end of the season. We got to put that on the list.
Oh God, man! All right, so go. Let's kind of deep dive it. Act by act. Go ahead and take the lead, Stephen. I need to actually step away for a second. I'm gonna grab a cup of coffee. Be right back.
Well, as we were going over, Angel 6, which is easier to say than Capra Angelica, so we're going to go with that. Angel 6, leaves Baltar due to his blasphemy. When they're having a conversation about God, he actually starts out in the lab when he is inundated with work, and she begins to speak to him about God, and he begins his blasphemy. Then they go into their dream world, which is his home back on Caprica before the fall, and then she instantly leaves. And he mentions the line, maybe I'll dream up another, maybe a brunette. At which time, there's a knock on the door, and Duval's there and catches him speaking to himself and asks him to go into the CIC. And when he arrives at the CIC, there is was it Sherry Godfrey?
Notice the name. It's Godfrey.
Yeah, Godfrey, right. Sherry Godfrey is there, and there's an accusation being made against Gaius that he is the traitor that allowed the Cylons to destroy Caprica. And when he refutes this, she hands over a disc that was given to her by the previous scientist. Forgive me, I can't remember his name. I didn't write it down. The one who was killed in the second episode.
Yeah, it's that one ship that basically was taken over by the Cylons.
On the carrier. That they had thought was taken over on the Olympic carrier.
Yeah, the Olympic carrier.
Right. And then they go to
Caprica, right? After that?
Yes, go to Caprica after that, where you have, or no, you don't. The next scene is Tyrell and Callie in the hangar deck trying to figure out the Cylon Raider controls. Does anybody want to run with that small scene?
Well, it's really just kind of a bridge to something else. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with character development or motivation or an obstacle. It's really just a fun exposition to sort of set up some sort of bigger story point with that ship later on. But it's done through a very clever way. It's done through frustration. So at least we get some conflict with regards to the character's goal, which is they want to try and get this ship working as Kara did, and they can't.
Right.
They're making all the attempts. They're following the instructions that were written out, and they're not getting anywhere.
Yeah, press on the abionic sac.
Well, what you're forgetting is Saul comes into her into the med bay.
That was later on.
Yeah, that's right after later. Yeah.
Well, actually, the scene right after is Starbuck and Apollo.
The scene with Saul happened before she went and talked to the guys that were having problems getting the Raider to respond.
Oh, right. Yeah, he did walk in on the hangar deck.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I wrote notes.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
They were halfway decent notes compared to my scribble scratch. And basically, he basically goads her to get the hell out of that bed.
Well,
and
that was
apparently she takes the bait.
Well, that was much later, but Saul did go on the hangar deck to talk to Callie and Tyrell. Chief, are you? It's like, Chief, are you in there? He's covered in guck. He's got like intestines hanging on him from inside the Cylon Raider.
Yeah, we missed the only thing we missed was we skipped over that scene where they start the decompression of that data file in the science lab. But
right.
Yeah, that's where you kind of like start to get ideas and like what's going on, and that it's kind of a setup.
Yeah, well, that's right. She says that that's Baltar, though we only see the back of him, and that he's holding a bomb.
Oh yeah, and then she's the one, like the person who brought this evidence. Like that isn't conspicuous as hell. That but look, there's a reflection on the glass. It's like, okay, that's like you finding that $5 bill I lost 2 minutes ago. That's not helping you. But
right.
That's my experience. And like everybody just has like clenched jaws the whole time as you're watching through that scene. But yeah,
and Baltar's also being tortured, at that point because he knows that she's a Cylon. And he can't say anything, or he outs himself because he knows what he did. He gave the security codes for the planetary defense system to Caprica 6. Yeah, so he knows that model exists, but he can't explain how he knows.
Yeah, this is the scene that comes up with the what is it called? Is it the Raider that they call the flying Cylons?
Yes, I believe it's called the Raider. Yeah.
Yeah. The scene with the Raider has a Chief in it, And I just double checked. That's the only deleted scene, and that's where it gives a further implication that the Raider is alive before it gets brought up later by Boomer. But yeah, that's the only thing that came out, and it just craps on the floor. But that's the only thing. I think this is where we get the motivation to get Starbuck up and at him again too.
So there was no
God,
botchery.
that's such a great scene too in the infirmary.
This one, the faces that Saltai makes the whole time through almost every occurrence he's in this episode. CIC, when Baltar's getting accused, he just has this. I don't even know how to explain this smirk he has, but it's very confident, and it sets up his fall coming in another 1 or 2 episodes, I believe. But yeah, it's freaking brilliant.
So the scene following the Raider is Apollo in the infirmary trying to get Starbuck to walk, making fun of her with the doc, and she's
cutting away her happy pills.
Yeah,
it's so great. I love that line of dialogue because he's like, I'm weaning you off the happy pills, and she's adamant. She's just like, give me a pill. He's like, no, I'm weaning you off the happy pills. I need them for me.
Yeah, I need them for me.
That doctor is great. He is one of the best characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the last times you'll see anybody smoking in a TV show too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, by the way, too, the gentleman that played Doc Cottle, he passed away, I believe, a year or 2 ago. I don't know, chat, if you guys have a particular on that of when Donnelly Rhodes passed away, but I know that it was a year or 2 ago.
I don't know why, but that just made me think of the scene at the very end of the show. I just want to jump ahead just for a second, where Rosalind thanks him, and he says, I don't know what to say. And she says, you don't have to say anything but grumble and light up another cigarette.
Yep.
He died January 2018, January 8th.
Okay,
that explains why I didn't know.
Oh, yeah. He was born close to my dad's birthday.
Yeah,
and he was born a couple years earlier, 37.
Yeah, so yeah, he was an older gentleman. He saw quite a lot of life, but man, did he nail this role so well. I mean, the doctor was such a great supporting character in this whole saga, because every scene, it seemed almost that every interaction that the doctor had in some form or fashion, he stole that scene.
Yeah, this episode is really heavy on Doc Cottle too.
Yeah,
because the scene coming up next, I guess, would be Rosalind.
Yeah, Baltar speaks with Rosalind and asks him if he can come back to the president's ship, and she says he's on a no-fly restriction because
security risk.
Because security risk, right? And then while he's trying to tell her he believes that Godfrey is a Cylon, she collapses.
Yeah, good evening, DJ Odyssey. It's good to see you, buddy.
Hail, DJ. What's up, buddy?
Yeah.
What's up, DJ?
So yeah, the just again, the professional chops that Donnelly Rhodes has as a doctor is just so awesome, man. He was so good.
I can give you a shot, but you're not gonna like the effects.
Yeah, right.
Just not in the arm.
It's not that kind of shot. Yes.
She took 3 times her medication, and he looks at her and he goes, "Oh, I guess it's going to work 3 times as fast." Or it's like,
you can't beat cancer with an overdose.
Right.
Well, I mean, you kind of can if you die, and then cancer dies afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, that's a morbid way to look at it. Thank you, Script.
Well,
you can't have cancer if you're dead.
Yeah. Oh man. So all right. So we're on the interaction with Starbuck and Lee's in there and the doctor, and then
and the doc gives her a stim, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. To get her back on her feet because she needs to speak to the press because she doesn't want to show weakness. And here's another aspect of Rosalind. She's dying, but she knows that she has to emit strength. She has to show strength and force because she is who everyone is looking to keep the last of humanity going.
And on top of that, Doc calls her out and he says, you can't hide this. You can't hide this illness forever. Eventually, it's going to come out. And she puts her foot down and she's like, well, not right now. I need to be strong. And it's, man, Billy in this scene too, like, yeah, you can definitely see, like, he was like, man, I really screwed up here, letting that go over that. Oh, fleet-wide PA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, poor Billy.
Yeah, poor Billy.
Poor Billy. I think
Solid character,
Billy's
though.
hiding Boxy.
You're just gonna throw them to the wolves of the reporters when they clamor for too much.
Yes.
That's how Boxy dies. He's eaten alive by reporters needing a story.
Yeah, torn apart by the press.
Yeah.
Literally, limb from limb. They had to repaint the press room afterwards.
Oh man, that's
Poor
good.
Boxy.
Poor Boxy. Press have to pay respects.
All right, that goes on the list.
But they forget to write the obituary, which is why it's such a mystery as to when he died.
Well, and
Guilty.
they killed him. I mean, how's the press going to write his obit? It's like, well, we viciously tore him apart limb by limb.
And so it wasn't necessarily fake news. They just omitted it from the news.
Yes.
An omission is
Yes.
still a lie.
So
Well, if no one
guys-
asks them about it, then they don't have to lie to hide it.
No,
so
don't know.
So, guys, those of you in the chat, that'll be our thing, like on a weekly basis. You know, if you've been watching from the first episode of the podcast, we've always kind of been funning around with the theories of what happened to Boxy. So, what we've got because nobody really particularly liked the new Boxy character at all. So the funny thing that we're just all speculating. We're going to keep this going all the way till the end. So we'll finally pick the winner of what theory in what way that Boxy actually died.
And we're going to have a review at the end of each season, right?
Write down your favorite Boxy.
Right. You're going to write down your favorite Boxy theory.
Yeah,
Where do we think
exactly.
Boxy bit the dust?
Exactly. So we'll just be like our thing will be hashtag cancel Boxy. So that'll be the thing, chat. So
Poor Boxy.
Or maybe Boxy lives with a question mark? Or lived?
Right. At the last episode, Boxy hijacks one of the fleet. Just goes off into
I'm not
space.
going to the sun.
Maybe he was the one that somehow got aboard the Olympic carrier and tried to ram it into the...
Right.
Boxy had nukes all along.
Boxy had nukes. Oh god.
Oh Lord.
Yeah,
Let's see.
gents, I believe next up is the scene with Shelley Godfrey and Adama. And his
Yeah,
fort.
this was a
Yeah.
we talk about two actors playing well off each other. Trisha and Edward James almost played absolutely well off each other in this sequence.
Well, you don't get to see those two acting with each other that much in this whole show.
Yeah,
I believe this is their only interaction, isn't it?
no,
No,
there's
there's
more
some
than that.
interaction
Yeah.
toward the end.
Later on, but yeah.
And he and she comes out. She tried to seduce Bill. She got all up close to Bill and was like, I feel so alone. And haven't you ever missed the warmth of
It was
another
a really
body?
bad hand she played, too. Like, that was not even...
And then
like,
she kisses him. He don't even. And let me tell you something. Bill Adama is a pimp because she tried to kiss him. He didn't even flex a cheek. He just let it happen.
She
looked
even
at her
turned on
like-
the waterworks for this
Right.
one, too.
Bill
Yeah.
wasn't
He's
having it.
he's like,
Head
what are
on
you
the
doing? lady?"
shoulder.
he's like, you haven't met my ex-wife, have you?
Yeah, he just gives her that look like, what are you doing, lady?
Bill was a pimp. He didn't care. He was just whatever.
I mean, he didn't flinch. He's like, nope.
And the first thing he does is call up Ty. I want to know who this chick is, where she comes from, where she's been.
Keep eyes on her at all times, discreetly.
Mm-hmm. Get Boxy on the case.
Dude, I guarantee if a woman's whispering in my ear like that, that's a hard.
That's a hard
that'd
thing
be
to
a hard-
resist. Yeah.
Oh God,
That'd be a hard.
Adega came up with such a good one right now. Look, you gotta see this, guys. Boxy became the underworld boss, smuggled drugs to the fleet, and ran a whorehouse on the rising star. Oh my God, Adega, that is so God, that is so good.
Oh, we could probably figure out a way to confirm that by the series end.
Well, that's going on the list.
Oh, dude, yes. Oh, Adega, that is so good.
man.
My
Put that
God.
back up. I gotta write it. I gotta put it on the list.
Yeah.
There we go.
I guess when they finally reached Earth, Boxy has to kill himself because he'll never live this good on that planet again.
Oh,
So you mean we can mate with them? Well, yeah. Well, wasn't that also Gaius that popped that line off?
It was, yeah. He's like, "Do you think we can do him?" Like,
So
it was
we
like the
gotta-
first thing that came to his head.
So don't forget, we get a little after we have the interaction between Shelley Godfrey and Adama. We get into a little bit of the tiny flash to Cylon occupied Caprica, and Sharon and Hilo are on the run. And
Why is Hilo shaving? He's been there like 24 days. He doesn't have any stubble or beard. He's just keeping it clean. Like,
I got it.
I'm
Thanks.
pretty sure there's not a shave kit in your emergency.
yeah, I know. It's like, why? Either he just doesn't grow facial hair, in which case I'd question his masculinity.
You think he's a little full of soy? Is that what you're saying? Hilo
Not-
doesn't come off as soy.
No, he doesn't come off as soy, but he's definitely hairless.
That's a good observation, SD, because he was rocking some stubble before Sharon found him in the first couple episodes.
Yeah.
I think episode 2 or something like that, he was rocking some pretty heavy stubble, and it seems like more and more as his
It's regressing.
love for her.
Yes,
Kinda
he's
popped
puffing
up.
out. It's what he's puffing out, Brian. That's what it is. He's puffing out, and the hair's going in. The more he falls in love with Sharon.
Well, if you're stuck with a fairly attractive woman for 24 days and there's no one else in sight, yeah, you're kind of by default gonna.
Dying of radiation. Oh, it could be the radiation stopping his hair from growing, maybe.
Could
But
be.
he's not, the rest of it's not falling out, though. That's the other interesting.
that's God. That is such a.
That was like a 30-second clip though. That was like them just running from Centaurians real quick, and that was it.
Yeah, right. Running and then hiding on that pillar of that bridge.
Yeah.
Which that must have been fun to shoot, in all honesty.
Yeah. See,
Because I can definitely tell it's a optical illusion. Like they're probably not that high up.
even like even like just a subtle sequence that's like just a small tiny like little like sort of chase sequence. It's there's just more action in that than anything you see in like something like Picard or something.
Picard couldn't run that fast. Let's be honest. All right.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And if Hilo was the Irish Romulan and they ran and then all of a sudden pulled a hidden gun from underneath the bridge and started shooting the Centaurians, then it'd be like Picard.
Probably.
They had a gun hidden there just in case someone broke into the winery. I mean, Caprica.
Not just under the bridge, but under a rock, in the water, like
Everywhere.
multiple areas.
And one of the Centurions throws Picard like really far, and he's still good. Doesn't break a hip or nothing. He just tuck and rolls. And the old Romulan just like drop kicks him. Ah!
The Centurions knew who Picard was, though. Nobody else does, but apparently.
Hey, fellas,
The Centurions would be Data's twins.
you fellas know Wes Moody, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got a copyright strike for
Yeah, I
his
know. I heard.
Picard review.
Yeah, I know. They
Ow.
CBS is
Oh yeah, they come after you.
CBS is being like really draconian about that.
They're mad.
Yeah, they're kind of mad.
They're mad for sucking.
They're mad because they don't have Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, exactly. DJ says the women in the whorehouse in Boxy's whorehouse wore Daggett costumes.
Okay, DJ, hold up. I'm gonna add that. Look, I'm gonna make an augmentation to Outlaws. Say DJ Odyssey. Hold on, leave that up. I need to read that.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Or
This is
Daggett costumes.
the Odyssey of Boxy.
So that's what happened. That's why there was no Daggett. Because the women in the Fleet Bordello, they had actual Daggett costumes on.
Oh, so he's a furry. Boxy's a furry, huh?
Yes.
He's a power bottom furry, man.
He ran the furry bordello.
Oh man. Oh, we are so off track. We're 20 minutes into this episode.
Oh my god.
We're trying to figure out what happened to Boxy. This is important work we're doing right here.
It's gonna be a long haul. All right.
CJ, what's up, man? Good to see you, man. Good evening.
What's going on, CJ?
Oh my god.
You arrived just in time for the circus.
Oh, Bring out.
We're gonna figure out what happened to Boxy if it kills him. Okay.
Yes.
Odyssey says, talk about Daggett style.
Yeah.
Oh god, man. Oh, Jesus.
Daggett style bikini.
Oh man. Oh.
Well, yeah, Adama wasn't having it, right? Shelly came on to Adama. He wasn't having it. He didn't flinch a cheek. She kissed him. He didn't even feel a tingle in his little admiral in his pants, not a tingle. And he immediately said, I want to know where this chick has been. Because he wanted to make sure that if he was going to hit this strange, that it was legit. So that was the last thing he said. And then we had Picard and Hilo and Sharon running from the Centaurians on Caprica. And then Felix working on the photograph in this scene, which is probably one of
his little snack of choice by the computer as he's processing.
No, I did not see that.
I can't tell if those are pistachios or peanuts, but they look like green freaking peanuts with shells on them. Like it's just kind of trippy sitting on top of a DVD-ROM of all.
Well, Felix would enjoy nuts. We'll find out later. And
apparently they're high in fiber too, because he had to go after eating just one of them.
Oh yeah.
Speaking
he tried anyway.
Speaking of working on the photograph, it's funny. Like every time they had a scene, like I couldn't help but in my head. Speaking of things that suck, all I could think about was Nickelback. That stupid photograph song.
Look at this photograph. Every time I do, I got a crap. Guys hits me in the bathroom. I didn't even wash my hands.
Oh God, man! Oh dear Lord!
Look, when he goes, when Baltar goes in there and he sits down in the stall next to me, he goes, "Hey, how's it going?" Like how he's looking through the crack like a creeper.
Well, it just reminds me of those scandals in the airports in the early 2000s where you like tap your shoe or something, and it was like some sort of code for
it was like
for sex.
Yeah, it was like gay code. Yeah.
What was it called? Like cabining or something, or cottaging?
I don't know, but a senator got caught doing that. He was like, "No, I'm not gay."
I don't know. These six gentlemen over here say otherwise.
I was gonna say you knew the code.
Right. He said, I was just picking up some toilet paper off the ground. Who picks toilet paper off the ground of a public bathroom, dog?
You don't even want to touch the ground of a public bathroom.
You were looking for some gay love. I ain't judging, but just own it. Own it, Mr. Senator. Own it.
God, man.
So anyway, so Baltar's in the bathroom trying to get some what was it called? Scraping or
Cottaging?
Cottaging from Felix, and that was probably one of the weirdest, creepy scenes. Like,
and he's trying to explain to him basically.
How's it going over there? Like, what? I met in the laboratory.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Oh yeah, he puckered up as soon as he heard Gaius in the next stall. Like he's not.
So did any of you other guys? We kind of discussed this pre-show. Did anybody else notice the commodes of a certain
I
variety?
did. They were European style.
Well, they have a sink in them.
Yeah.
Oh, they had a sink. The doors.
Yeah.
In Europe, the doors on bathrooms and public bathrooms are about 1.5 feet off the ground. So were those in the United States. The doors are about 2 feet off the ground. If you ever noticed a public bathroom in the States.
Yeah, like the height is a very European setup, but the width between the door and the jam is an American setup. Apparently, something freaks Europeans out when they come to America is how much like they get freaked out by that gap between the door and the stall, which always kind of trips me up. But yeah, I wouldn't have noticed that sink on the back of the commode if it wasn't for I can't see her rank right now, but the extra that was washing her hands and then left the frickin' towel.
Mhm.
That would not happen in the military. That's your towel. You take it with you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
germs
like-
on that towel.
That was like, okay, if there's that sink there and it's double-sided, I'm looking at the scene right now, but there's also a sink on top of the commode. That's just weird. Very, very trippy because I don't know, like that's I'm pretty sure they have a different shower setup too.
I mean, I guess they're just saying like in case you want to wash your hands but not go outside, you can do it right there.
My question is, and this is purely because I'm a pervert, if they have intersex bathrooms, does that mean the showers are public intersex showers too?
Yeah, probably.
From what I remember, when what is that? Is that in the miniseries where Billy tries to get at Duala? No, I think it's first or second episode where Billy
No, it's
goes
in the first
in and tries
episode.
to,
Yeah, he walks into the communal
the
washroom.
communal washroom, and that's like that was set up way differently than this one. Like this one definitely looks like a restroom kind of area, and the other one looked like a more of a washroom kind of an area where you go in and you take a shower, get your face washed, get your shave on, and move on about it.
So what we learned is that Gaius will creep on another dude in the bathroom area, but not the washroom area.
Oh my God, he's tapping his foot the whole time too. This is tripping out.
I know. There's no way he could shit. There's no way Felix could have a comfortable movement with that going on. and then Shelly walks in. And it's like just as a distraction, Felix is up and out. You didn't even wash your hands, Baltar says.
He didn't even do anything in there.
He couldn't.
It's weird. They're both kind of like looking out of that crack the whole time while they're talking too. Like Gata's staring out of the crack and Gaius is staring out of the crack. It's just kind of like straight eyeballing the camera.
Right.
And I think when Shelly walks in, you barely have an idea that it's her, besides the fact that she's wearing gray.
Mm-hmm.
And almost everybody else has that kind of more of a like
Green.
a heather blue, kind of a green kind of a thing going.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely feels like it has like an embedded white fiber between all the layers of dense color.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Yeah. Go ahead.
That entire scene is creepy, and then it continues on to be creepy when he realizes that Shelly has walked into the other stall, and he just walks over to it, bursts it open.
He's just accosting everybody in the crack.
He's losing it from paranoia at this
He's a
point.
turd goblin. I don't know what's going on.
Oh man.
I mean, and the funny thing is, like, after he the thing is like he gets into that sort of heated conversation with Shelly and confronts her, and then he says that great line, "No more Mr. Nice Guys."
Oh yeah,
That pilot, the look on that pilot,
Yes.
random pilot's face that walks in, and he's just like, what is wrong with this dude?
We gotta trust him with the Cylon detector.
Yeah, to me, it's definitely just a straight nope the F out look on his face. It's like, no, I'm not even gonna no. kind of a look on his face.
and it's seasons of this, guys. If you're watching this show with us, like if you're for the first time, it's seasons of this guy. He is a wreck.
It can be very confusing. If you jump in on a later season and you don't know what's going on. Yeah, because I think when I first caught this show, I think I was somewhere in season 2. I'm like, what the hell's up with this guy? And like that honestly, that's also what kind of hooked me. That's why I went back and rewatched all the episodes at that time. And I'm like, oh man, this is on a whole nother level. And that's when I fell in love with the show.
Yeah. I mean, he's one of my favorite characters because it's fun to watch him go through everything that he goes through, what he puts himself through, where his story arc leads, and then I think the finale to me is satisfying. The way that they take his character in the last 2 seasons, especially the last one, and the way they shape it. He's one of my favorites.
I definitely enjoyed what they did with him. Like it was a good character arc.
Yeah.
Oh, I believe next scene up was the scene we were hinting at earlier with Boomer.
Yeah, that is a great scene in this episode. By the way, that interaction with Boomer and the Chief while he's trying to,
the looks he is shooting her as she's caressing this thing to him, and she's preaching to him that, well, maybe it's not a thing, and he's just like, oh crap, I stuck my in crazy, didn't I?
Yes, he did.
And on top of that, like, she's there for no reason. She doesn't ask him for anything. She's just there to volunteer this information and kind of like get under his skin a little bit.
Yeah, so like she just kind of walks in with that notepad in hand, right?
But she's like, I mean, you really finally get the sense, like, oh my God, this chick. To the viewer, you can finally see, like, oh wow, is she really a Cylon? Oh my God,
right?
Because just the subtle way, like she's running her hand down the line to the Raider, and then she sort of like puts
very caressing kind of touch, and there's like what 10 space marines guarding this thing, and they didn't notice that, and they're freaking security. I mean, come on.
And she's like, it's different than the human models. You have to think of it as Ruthie, hello, good to see you. You have to sort of think of it like an animal, like a pet, maybe, and you sort of get that sense from her, like, uh-oh. So she's basically describing the Cylon hierarchy in the in this little exposition in this scene right here, and it's like, holy cow.
And going back to what Brian was saying earlier, the looks that he was shooting her, which is another reason why I really believe he knows that she's a Cylon. And
to me, like, after this scene, like you guys have been hinting at it, definitely, that he's starting to have the thought process. But this one, to me, is where it definitely solidifies, because he looks at her, and then he looks up at this Raider like, oh man.
And he thinks to himself, did I put my wee in crazy? Oh, yeah. And the answer is yes, Chief, you did. And it was probably the best you're ever going to have.
Crazy.
What strikes me as odd is that they don't clean off the blood from the Raider. Like, they just let it there.
Yeah. They're cleaning up all this goo that's dripping down as they're trying to work inside of it, but they never cleaned it. But to me, that also kind of points to the fact that they see it as a thing, and they don't see it as a semi-sentient object.
Well, they cut the brain out of it, right? But is it still alive? Is the question.
No, the brain's still in it, as far as I know. It just doesn't have direct control over everything. It's kind of like it's in a coma.
Because you'd figure if it's organic, it would decompose, right? It would begin to be.
It should, yeah, and it's not getting any sort of fuel to maintain the organs.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still the reason I say it's in a coma is because it's still breathing. Like, you can see everything still kind of moving and still operating in a sense when they get up inside of it. I believe that comes in a little bit later. Well, no, it was Chief earlier, and then we have Starbuck coming up later.
It was Starbuck that got to respond.
Yeah. Well, I believe she's the only one that ever could. Just
I
because.
think she only got it to respond because she put her foot in the right place and made that
She
connection.
stomped on its nuts, and every time she does that, it wakes up.
Oh, but apparently this Raider's a girl, according to Kara. So
Yeah.
So she pushed on the bean, I guess.
Yep. All right. Well, the beam works.
Yeah.
Must be the main beam. Yeah. So let's see. Creepy hangar deck. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And she says, yeah, she's talking about it. She says, it's more like an animal, so treat it like that. Treat it like a pet.
Yeah. It's like, it's just, God, I can't believe though, like, just so early on, man, they give such a good exposition. It was just such a well-crafted way to really bring the viewer in on, could she really is a Cylon? Oh my God, and get that speculation kind of circulating amongst the viewers like really hardcore. But at the same time, even though they gave away a bit of the Cylon hierarchy, they didn't really give away anything. They did it in a way where they gave stuff away, but they didn't. And it's just an example of the brilliant writing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed, Drew. It gave you an idea of a hierarchy, of the concept of the skin jobs are the top tier model, and then you have the Centaurians, and then you have later you find the older Centaurians, and then you have the Raiders, which are not as evolved as Centaurians, but it's still a sentient being. It's a living being,
also,
like an attack dog.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, basically, you also have like a skin job version for the base stars, also a skin job version of the Raiders for the base stars operating those ships as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we always figured about her.
We're not there yet. We haven't gotten there yet.
Well, you brought up the old Raiders, or you brought up the old.
I know. You're right. Damn it.
You opened the door,
I
kind
did.
sir.
I did. I did. That's my bad.
I apologize for overstepping as well.
The following scene is the one Bear was bringing up earlier. Bear, if you want to talk about that, where Ty goes in to see Kara.
Another great shot of an excellent pair of legs.
Basically, I don't even know if Saul realized it, but he has a way of motivating Kara Thrace, and because you can't stand him, and he actually used reverse psychology, and I think it kind of worked on her a little bit.
Oh, she definitely calls him out for it too, as well. She's like, "You think that reverse psychology bullshit's going to work on me?" Sorry, guys.
Apparently, it did. You're right.
I'm quoting the show there.
She totally called him out.
Oh yeah, because he says, that's fine. I don't expect it to work. The longer you sit in that bed, the more that you justify my thoughts about what the kind of person you are.
It was definitely a two-step psych play there, and I believe that it was an excellent setup, and it's one of the reasons I really started to feel a lot for Ty until the later things come up.
The cuckening, yeah.
You can't help but like his character.
Dude, I love Saul so much, man. He's perfect XO.
I knew a lot of old timers that were a lot like Saul.
That's exactly. He reminds me of an old NCO. Just salty. Don't call me sir. I work for a living kind of an attitude,
Yeah. Yeah, and he, he does not like anybody, and he really doesn't like Kara Thrace, but he respects her ability. He knows her ability and how to motivate her. And that really shows through in that scene. I think he does care. I think there's a part of him that does care, but I think he's so grizzled and so, I think he's so, I don't know.
You can definitely tell he's enjoying playing his part in this scene. I'll say that much, because he has a smile the whole time.
Because he knows he's going to win. He's got her. He's a proud man. She is a proud woman, and he knows that by insulting her and saying, "Yeah, I expect you to lay there and be defeated because that's what I think of you," when that isn't really how he thinks of her, that's going to motivate her, which it does.
Right. He's
Script would probably say this much more eloquently. Could you translate my feeble words?
Translate your words were quite on point. He is playing a great manipulation game to encourage her to, become, not dwell on her injury, and get back out onto the field, so to speak. He's our coach, if anything. He's a damn good one. He knows his officers, and he knows what makes them tick. And a good XO knows how to get them motivated. I can't improve on what you said for two reasons. One, you said it so well. Number two, I've been awake pretty much for the last 2 days.
Wow, dude.
Yeah, so welcome back, Raquel. She lost connection for a second. And Mar, welcome in, buddy. Yeah, I guess I lost some pounds. I look pretty good.
I'd have to say that at this point, I might sleep with Drew. And Script, did you discover internet porn in the last couple of days? Oh,
no, I was just editing.
You had a good Valentine's Day, didn't you?
That was last weekend. That was also pretty fun too. But
you totally went for the bubble wrap and baby oil. I told you. Winner every time.
Condoms.
I was up till 5 a.m. getting the finishing touches on my Picard 4 video, and then
hey, wait! In this modern day and age, Script Doctor, did you both sign releases?
Did you take a video of consent?
Yes.
It's on Betamax because that way it can't leak on the internet.
Oh God!
Oh, man, I've been messing up. I'm getting mine on Laserdisc. Oh man.
Yeah, see, that's what we're gonna have, guys. We're gonna wind up digging out all the old formats, man. We're gonna bring VHS and Betamax and Laserdisc back. Oh God.
Hey, I had an uncle that had one of those original Laserdisc players, the ones that were as big as record player. Big as a record. Yeah, man.
Take said think reel to reel.
Yeah.
8mm, buddy.
Yeah. That's what Odyssey just said. 8mm.
That's actually one of the cameras I have set up in the background next to my Enterprise D. Is I have an 8mm set up next to it.
Nice. Oh man, that's why I love doing this show, because man, we get such a good crowd of people in here with like such good senses of humor, man. That's why I love like all the people that hang out with us every week, because you guys out there listening and watching the channel, you add just as much to the show as the panel does. So I appreciate you. So
keep those boxing theories coming.
Yeah, keep the boxing theories coming for sure.
Well, one of the things that always makes this very enjoyable and one of my high times during the week is that the chat is as much of a fan of the show as we are.
Oh yeah.
And you can always tell it always shines through perfectly.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, now, correct me if I'm wrong. We're in the part where Baltar and Adama are having sort of a meeting of the minds, and
yes, and Baltar does not try to seduce him.
Yeah.
No, man.
He basically lays it out to Baltar that your image is on that tape. Your shit's gonna be impounded and dismantled
and destroyed. He made a big show, and I believe right after he says everything in your lab will be dismantled and destroyed. Yeah. That's when Gaius goes to his Freddy hole, as I call it, but his house in his mind.
You see that look that he shoots Adama too? Man.
Well, he says I'm already guilty in the court of public opinion. And which when he leaves the office, when he leaves the admiral's quarters, like there are people, you can hear people around him just like traitor, talking.
Dude, they are straight eyeballing him hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's not just like one or two, but it's like they're like at one point I believe there's like a group of 4 of them that are directly within his bubble, if you have a bubble in one of those kind of situations. But they're like less than a foot away from him, just like looking at him like,
Right.
You know what you did.
Yep. You guilty motherfucker. And so he pulls the alarm. We don't see him, but he pulls a fire alarm. to get Felix out of the
editing suite, so to speak.
right, and then tries to destroy the image unsuccessfully for a frantic.
Oh, it's comically bbrilliant too.
Oh, God, yeah. That's...
He like disconnects the monitor, but it's the wrong one.
Yeah.
I love the almost Looney Tunes esque as he puts the chair down and tries to step in front of that
Front of the monitor.
Y'all didn't see that when you walked in at all. Hey guys, how you doing?
Delete. Come on, delete.
He is just like slap dancing his fingers across that keyboard at one moment. If I remember correctly, I mean I got the playback running right now.
Yeah, he's just this whole episode frantic and crazy. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to yawn. He's just frantic and crazy the entire time. You know?
Yeah, this is
that's peak Gaius, peak Baltar though, is when he's at
we got another good
crazy franticness.
we got another good boxy theory here, guys.
All right.
So Adega brings up another boxy theory. He ends up going blind for teenage reason. Gets caught in the machinery of the Trillium refinery, then dies of abuse from the prisoners. His body is disposed of as beer.
Right up there, you know he's a dumb teenager because he doesn't aim away.
Oh man! Hey,
that almost plays off one of the theories we had in the first or second episode when we were like, okay, yeah, Boxy's gone. Where is he? He's like, well, he was a smuggler. He could have been stuck on the Trillium
Refinery.
refinery.
It's
I like that one. That's a good one, Adega.
Yeah, it's good to see you. By the way, welcome to the chat. My esteemed editor in chief from Bounding Into Comics, John F. Trent, and great to see you in here, buddy.
Hell,
We will. I'll definitely. By the way, John, that thing we were talking about earlier today, those revisions on that article, I'll work on tonight. You'll have it in the morning. So,
Drew, you're supposed to be working and you're talking about science fiction.
And how a little boy is getting killed in mysterious ways.
For shame.
Well, no, he's an angsty teenager. Remember?
He is.
Yeah. Boxy's edgy. He's full of teen angst.
Oh, I'm sure if they had Guy Shadow and the black clothing, he would have totally been all there. That's another reason we lost Boxy. He just blended into the background.
Emo Galactica.
Oh, Emo Galactica.
Okay. Yeah. So he doesn't get to destroy the image, and he gets arrested and thrown in the brig. Meanwhile, Ty's ploy to get Kara out of bed works, and she comes down to put her foot on the beam of the raider.
yeah, like in a minute. They've been at it for like a couple of weeks, and just a minute. Yeah.
Right. And now, do you guys? What do you think about that? Do you think that it's because she had a familiarity with it already?
Yeah, she had already.
Yep.
She had already kind of figured it out on the planet.
In 20 minutes.
So that makes she did have that. That's what we used to jokingly call that on my old forums. We used to call that the Kara Sue moment because we used to joke that Kara did have like a couple of Mary Sue moments in the show, and that was one of them where she like mastered it in 20 minutes.
Right.
We always used to say like, okay, so let's Kara Sue power activate.
I don't know. It almost seems like it's foreshadowing what comes later on with her Renovatio rebirth, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah.
Where she passes away and comes back.
But
I always thought she would have been the perfect last model, and instead of throwing it at for Ellen of all people, what a waste.
Yeah, no, you know what? In defense of Ellen, because the actress that they had that played Ellen and everything, I thought she did a good job. And as much as I did want to see Kara sort of revealed as a Cylon, and I think that's predictably what the audience thought too was, oh wow,
Yeah,
he's going to
that's
wind up.
one thing I will concede is that it was too obvious.
Yeah.
I didn't mind Ellen actually being a Cylon.
That was the only way to redeem her character at all.
The Odyssey.
I was okay with hating her, man.
Odyssey and the Shager are coming back and forth with Boxy theories now. There we go. All right, the real Boxy theory. He was just too damn annoying, so they left him on the planet to get blown up. Cylons captured him, and even they were annoyed from him, so they shipped him off to Discovery.
Oh, is he supposed to be did Boxy grow up to be the guy in the wheelchair? Like, he doesn't speak or anything, but he wheels around, and they won't use any of that cybernetic science like they did on the android lady that had no name. So they just leave him in the wheelchair to suffer.
Well, he crossed shows, so they had to take his tongue out. That way, he couldn't tell them about a better format and how they could have done it right.
They paralyzed him, took out his tongue, threw him in the background.
Oh God, yeah.
Boxy ended up on Discovery.
he ended up as he ended up like captive, like working for the Klingorks. Oh goodness.
Harvesting time crystals.
Oh God, yeah.
Don't forget, then there was a tornado. Then they ended up in the land of Oz.
Yeah.
Rosalind visits Baltar in the brig, and you know what? Oh, let me switch up. So she goes down to the brig to see him, and this is very revealing to me, that scene, because she says that she talks about going with her gut instinct, and the moment that she heard he was being accused of this, her gut told her that he was guilty, that he had something to do with the fall of Caprica, and that, like, I think everybody had that feeling. I think Adama had that feeling. I really believe that they know he's guilty of something, and so her just her admitting that, it was almost like a relief. I think it looked like she was relieved. Like, I know you were guilty of something, and now we have the proof. That's how
now they have a direction of where to go with that guilt. Yeah.
Right. But
That might have been Kabbalah,
Yeah. Well, I mean, she is on drugs, but
hallucinating and passing out all over the place.
Hey, man, you gotta have fun when you have fun. Then we go to Hilo and Sharon. They flip a coin for who's going to go to sleep, and Sharon's seduction of him is working. And at the same time, Boomer is on Galactica and opens up her locker, and on the mirror,
yes,
Cylon.
This is the thing where, and I had mistakenly thought this was that for some reason that this showed up in one of the earlier episodes. But yeah,
Do you think the Godfrey chick did it?
No, I think Boomer did it.
Yeah, I think Boomer wrote that herself.
I think her programming is conflicted.
Yeah. And this is great, by the way, because honestly, like this is, we get to see the 8 model spine glow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Doing it in the rain.
Bam.
Sex
Bam.
in the rain, just
Yes.
sex in the rain.
No, that's why you're always clean by the time it's over. So
Oh, yeah, you don't need the little washcloth.
Now we need to check in the next episode if Hilo has grown stubble, like if he released what he needed to release, and that way his hair was able to grow again.
He's committed the grand purge.
Yes. The relief has allowed him to,
it was a very cathartic moment because he revealed his feelings and then revealed the rest. Yeah.
He revealed everything, and he gave it to her. He gave her everything.
He did.
He did. I mean, so much that her spine glows. Look, when you're hammering a girl and her spine lights up.
Oh, she was on top, so she was doing the nailing.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a baby happening.
That's a real deal.
Spy
The
clothes,
weird
something
thing is,
going on.
Well, the question is, like, he loves her, but does she love him back yet at this point?
I
I
think
think
her
that's the
spine
only
was
time they
glowing. I
do
think
any baby making, right?
Yeah.
it's for real.
Because she's already turned against her other skin jobs on the planet,
Mhm.
and now they are actively being hunted. It's no longer a game of cat and mouse, if I remember correctly, because Caprica and the human relations officer, I can't remember his name right now, Doral, they have the conversation of, well, she's turned against us. I guess we'll have to kill her or something like that. That pops up too.
Mhm.
That
And-
happened
was like
last episode?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
it was a real quick 10-second shot.
It was while they're in the warehouse, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, there was a conversation on the roof, wasn't it?
Yeah, they kind of wrote her death sentence at that point.
I think that her model is empathetic to begin with.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was her model's thing, wasn't it? Wasn't it empathy?
Yeah. I
But
mean,
the thing is, they needed her to do all that stuff, so why would they want to kill her now?
because they're
It-
sick.
Because she wasn't willing to. She was willing to go through with it, but she wasn't willing to relinquish the offspring.
Right. She wanted to keep it all inside.
Well, Hilo did give it to her.
He did. He served it and lit her right up.
And
But
go ahead.
I think that goes to show also the conflict in Boomer, because I mean I believe that she's programmed to be an infiltrator and a saboteur, but you know part of the makeup of that model is empathy and procreation. I guess because they have a heavy emphasis on procreation, so the Sharon model would be ideal for that task. But I mean, Six tried it, but it didn't happen. So I think that actually, her breaking up with the chief, her getting dumped by the chief, and that conflict, the conflict resolution going on within her is breaking down the wall of her programming between the saboteur aspect and the infiltrator aspect of who she is. And so that's why I think she wrote that on the mirror. And it was also coinciding with the lovemaking scene between Hilo and Sharon.
Yeah, there's a lot of back and forth there.
There was a lot of contrasting, and that's where we finally, where they first started the diverging paths, so you could really differentiate between the Boomer model and the Athena model, and that's and a lot of that was to sort of, build that into the audience's mind that okay, these are two different Sharons. So that people really could see like,
It does definitely feel like it starts to show a mental break.
Mm-hmm.
And like you see, when I first watched it, I saw the yellow, the yellow written on there, and my brain went to yellow jumpsuit jammy jammer. And I was like, Jammer? Why the hell would he do that? I haven't seen him all freaking episode, and like I don't think I ever really see him much more after this. But like, and then you start like, it did the flashbacks back and forth, and I started to see who becomes Athena. I started to see more of her as the actual character, and more strength in her character than I did in Boomer.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
Who uses that kind of chalk or yellow grease pen?
That would definitely be a mechanic using that, because that's where you'd mark punctures on tires or impact punctures on the skin of the plane. So that's when my brain went to that, because that's a chalk stick for marking shit on automotive.
I think maybe it was Chief.
I would almost say Callie, but I don't think she'd be able to hold it in.
I don't see Chief as being
Callie
that
too.
vindictive. And Callie's still too demure this early on in the season. Like she's got a spine, but she's still more of a follower than a leader. And I don't see her breaking off to go accuse Sharon of that.
Yeah, the only reason I kind of think that actually comes from the prison break scene. Where they were basically that guy was trying to assault her, and she bit his freaking ear off. Yeah. Like shot in the stomach.
That's
and
why I
fucking
said she
shit.
does have a spine, because
Yeah.
like she's defended herself. She's defended Chief when he was accused during episode 4 and 5. And so like I see her as she has her strengths, but she definitely knows when to play to her strengths.
Mm-hmm.
And she hasn't really hit her stride yet. I feel like she's still like an early 20s young adult. And like, later on we get more into her more assertive adult kind of character. But that's just me.
Yeah, I love Callie. I thought she was a
Oh
great
yeah,
actress.
she's one of my favorites.
Yeah, they're all one of my favorites.
It's hard not to love everybody in this show, just because they all played everything perfectly. But when the writing is this good and it still holds up this much later on, what we're 13 years out, it ended 2007, 07, 04, 08. So yeah, it's just impressive.
We got another boxy theory from Adega.
All right.
Ooh.
Okay, let's see, because he's got a two-parter here. So. Boxy theory. He ended up in one of the food lines and asked, "Please, sir, may I have some more?" Subsequently, gets beat for using the lunch lady's wrong pronouns, and then ends up dancing in drag up until they find Earth, New Earth, our Earth. His new dance skills are used to charm the natives to allow peace.
So he's an early hominid charmer.
Yes.
He's the hominid whisperer.
Oh my God! Adega, you are on fire tonight, man. Damn, those Odyssey. Oh,
That is some seriously disturbing imagery right there.
Oh my God!
So is he going after it like Michael Flatley, the Lord of the Dance? Or...
Is he dancing to Tiny Tim? Is he the typical through the tulips?
I'm your boxy dancer.
Oh no.
Oh yes.
Okay, Odyssey says,
Hold my beer.
Hold my beer. So he's getting ready to fire one off. So we got another boxy theory incoming shortly.
Good.
Oh,
So real quick, we'll go over the next scene. Baltar prays to God. He's freaking out at this point, and he says, "You know what? I'm going to give in and just pray to God." And he starts doing that. He devotes his life to doing good, to the divine will. To his divine will, in which case the Caprica angel appears. And, well, we kind of saw that coming. At least I saw that coming.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw that as well. That was her whole goal in this episode.
Yeah. So we come full circle with that, and just like the Olympic carrier, he is saved. Because Helix appears, and Baltar thinks he's getting killed. He thinks he's gonna get thrown out, spaced, thrown out in an airlock. And but Felix shows up and tells him that the image was a fake and that he had reran security checks after the image had come up. And Baltar.
I mean, we get to enjoy him squirming for a good 5 or 10 seconds first.
And then
I never learned how to draw.
He tries to play it cool. He's like, "Well, I knew that. I knew it was fake." You worm.
It was actually Gaius pointing out the fact that it could be a fake that helped Gata go back and re-scrub the image after it finally rendered, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. He got out of it again. And then, and that's when I keep forgetting her first name. Shelley Godfrey has escaped the Galactica, and nobody can find her. And Admiral Adama orders a sweep of all the ships, and then Rosalind holds a press conference to let everyone know that he's been cleared of all charges. Though I find that, as her smile was very disingenuous. I mean, she was putting on that face, but the fact that she told him that she knew he was guilty of something, that still rings in the back of my head. Like with that character, I don't think you can.
She's not letting that go.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like she ever really trusts him again after this, though. Like she she's willing to let him conduct the work, but that's because he's the only one who can.
Yeah, this is I think the beginning where they really start to mistrust Baltar, even though he's quote unquote in the clear, and yeah, this is sort of a prelude to events that are coming down the road.
Well, I just love Baltar's take on this, where he looks at this experience as kind of like a broken champion horse, where he's built up stronger than he was before, but completely loses sight of the fact that he's been completely manipulated for this entire episode into just acquiescing to her point of view.
Right.
I love that word.
And it's just so great because he's thinking, oh yes, these actions have manipulated the people that believing in who I am, and he's completely not registering that he's been completely manipulated again by number 6, and it's just going to get worse and worse as it goes, and he's slowly losing his original identity as being like a scientific agnostic or atheist, whatever you how want to look at it.
Yeah,
and it's a really interesting journey.
Intellectual.
Yeah, but see, he's kind of like, he's still very conflicted inside, even though he said he quote unquote is a believer. He's like on his way to becoming one, but he's not that yet. But interestingly enough, later on, we're going to get to see a completely different side where he actually, at that point in time, he actually has embraced it. But that's, obviously down the road. But the cool thing is at least here, he's sort of like, in a way, browbeaten into their beliefs.
Yep, done completely through fear of his own life and death.
It's what do they say? It's this amazing sort of talent for self-preservation, and that's what spurred it. And that's what it is. Okay, so we have DJ Odyssey's new Boxy theory here. All right, new Boxy theory. After peaceful coexistence was achieved, Boxy opened up an unsuccessful reimagination of cats called Daggets. Failing, Boxy is reduced to child star gone bad, becomes Baltar's love slave.
Oh, God.
Oh, Baltar wouldn't go for that.
Not guys, Baltar superstar. Come on.
I don't know. I mean, if Boxy waxed, maybe. If he had that Greek boy look, who knows?
Oh, I'm sure somebody'd be waxing on Boxy. I mean, given the options.
Oh, good God, man! Oh, these theories are so good.
We're gonna crack this case. We're gonna figure this out.
The fate of Boxy lies in our hands.
Come on, Columbo, give us another one.
So that's
happened.
So that's in a nutshell. That's basically the episode. We see the glasses left behind by Shelley Godfrey. We don't know how she's escaped the Galactica, and it's just sort of like leaves people scratching their heads, like, what the hell was she really even here?
She fell into the same void that Boxy did.
But
and the episode ends with Baltar about to masturbate.
But
pretty much.
The thing is.
That is a beautiful scene, though, as she's walking up those stairs. It's breathtaking every time. It's like, man.
If this show had only been on cable.
And she kept the heels on, too.
Dude.
Thank you, Trisha. We love you.
Yeah.
That's a pro move right there.
And and then she turns the corner with that look with her, with just enough side boob.
Well,
and the light radiating in the background.
Well, the thing is, as far as this episode on a whole, I thought this episode was pretty good. It was more, again, this was one of those things when I thought when this episode first came out, it was more like a little bit of plot filler, more drama, but it's still a very good expositional filling episode. And I thought that overall this was a solid, for me, probably 7. I liked it from the degree of what it showed in character development, and
Well,
I
it's
think
starting a new story thread. That's what this episode is.
yeah,
They-
and I think it did a good job. It definitely seeded things well. No pun intended, but it definitely seeded things well, and
It was
Well, we don't
good
know if he.
filler.
yeah,
We don't know if he got her in the first try, So
yeah, but yeah, I think it was I think this was done well, and I definitely I believe at the time I was sort of I was a little more harsh on it. I was like I think at the time I gave it a 6.5, but yeah, now after rewatch I give it a 7 easily.
Yeah, this one for me definitely comes in at a solid 7.5 just because what it sets up in later story arcs, like it definitely lays the foundation for the religion undertones going on with Gaius and everything that happens later on with him. But it gives a lot of just you get to see a lot of the actors really like everybody's breadth and what they can actually achieve because there's a lot of just there's a lot of things you definitely won't catch your fourth or fifth time through watching this thing. Like your first couple times, you're definitely watching for story, but then you start to catch cues and just little things that the actors and actresses did, and it's like wow. Like you can definitely there was a lot of respect for this show.
Well, there really was, and again, this is what you call a respect to source material in general, but not even so much source material because this did go off in its own direction. They were making a new canon, but the thing is it was just so well written, and that's the thing, and I appreciated that it was well written because it's funny for you guys if you watched it, there's a really hilarious thing, and I used to love watching the skit. There's like a little episode of that show Portlandia, and I don't watch Portlandia a lot, but I watched this particular episode of Portlandia because it shows the couple they're getting ready to go out to a function or something together to like a whatever, but they say, yeah, I just got the Battlestar Galactica DVDs. Let's pop these in, hun. And the couple sits down and they're just going to do a quick watch of one episode. Next thing you know, like days go by because they binged the whole damn series. and that's exactly what this show is. It keeps you invested, riveted, and you want more. It leaves you wanting more. And God, that is such a lost art in writing. I wish we could have that. You can get that with the Orville, to some.
I would agree.
You get that with the Expanse because the Expanse leaves me wanting more, but you don't get that with a lot of science fiction right now.
Well, if you want
not Star Wars,
if you want more of that in Hollywood, Drew, then we need to get script off his ass and working.
Yeah, but the thing and the thing with script is I love SD to death, but man, he is like swimming against a huge current because there might be some folks in Hollywood that are that think along the lines that we do, but unfortunately they're in like a den of snakes, man, because they're trying to stand up and bring back good storytelling, but they're right now for the short term outnumbered by the people that are possessed by the popular groupthink that
Oh yeah. Well, one of the things I've always enjoyed about this show is how many characters in other TV shows spend their time talking about this show, which is almost like breaking the fourth wall kind of a way. But you have Dwight from The Office is a huge fan of BSG, Portlandia. It pops up. I can think of at least 2 or 3 other shows.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
where it's referenced.
There was a reference on NCIS where
Yeah.
McGee said something to somebody and said, "Yep, your girlfriend's a Cylon." And,
Now, I know I don't normally do this, but I actually have to dip. So I just wanted to put my final rating in real quick, if that's okay, Drew.
yeah, go ahead, man.
All right, I give this episode a 7.1. The 7 is for solid storytelling, the foreshadowing that we're going to see. I liked I really do enjoy the Baltar 6 storyline, the focus of those guys, and that he is guilty, and then just showing him being racked with guilt and nervousness about that being exposed, and then this episode coming right at that jugular. And the point one is shaped like a penis, and that is because there was lots of sexiness going on in this episode, which I also enjoyed. Just beautiful. I love looking at beautiful things. I love beautiful actresses. What I love more than a beautiful actress is one that has incredible range and can play with the professionalism and at the level that these ladies do. This entire cast. And so, I 7.1. That's what I'm giving it. And thank you very much, guys, for having me here again. I have got to crash. I've got to go to work tomorrow.
All right.
Thank you to the chat. Keep the boxy theories coming, guys. We love you. We love that. And have a great night, gentlemen.
All right.
Good night, sir.
Have a good one, Steve. Good night. All
You owe
right.
me a Coke.
Yeah. So Bear, go ahead. Give your really quick score on it.
Yeah, I would say about a 7, maybe a 7.5, maybe an 8. There was definitely some moments here I kind of liked how number 6 made Baltar squirm almost the whole time.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of goaded her and created a little bit of problem for himself. And I think overall, I think a lot of the acting and the portrayal, the arcs, and all that were good. I'd say a 7.5 solid.
Yeah, I was almost leaning towards 8 myself, but there wasn't any action scenes really.
Yeah. So script.
Well, this episode is fantastic because it follows a very strong and true rule of writing, which is simple story, complex characters. Not once in this episode do we get lost or confused about what is going on. We know that Baltar is being accused of treason. We see the evidence that's supposed to implicate him. We see his entire motivation, all of his actions, all of his crazy antics, everything that's making him squirm and doubt himself and basically put himself out there to beg for his life, essentially, is all motivated by that simple goal. In the hangar bay, the simple goal that they have there is get the raider running. Kara's simple goal is get on your feet. Sharon's goal on Caprica is bang Halo, and it's all so simple, but it all has these complexities because the characters have their own personal their own perspective on how they want to achieve this goal. So Sharon does it by being Sharon, like on Caprica, does it by kind of being a somewhat of a damsel in distress, but also one that is concerned with Hilo at all times as well. She argues like, oh, you should sleep because you need it more, and he's like, well, no, I'm I can't stand to lose you after 3 and plus weeks together, and and then sorry to put you on the spot, but I always wished I was the chief and all that stuff. Like, it's all he's just expressing his feelings because basically they're on the run for their lives. They don't know if they're going to make it the next day or not. So he's just kind of getting this out there, and for only 2 scenes that we see on them, we get a whole new level of where this relationship is going. And this episode in itself is a great example of concluding the last little block of episodes we've seen so far, and starting up a new one where now Baltar, even though he's been exonerated, there's a planted seed of doubt by those that he doesn't want to have doubt him, which is the president and of course Adama.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be running through for a very long time in this show. And then of course we have Boomer on the just those two scenes where she walks up to the hangar for no reason, just to talk and spout out some information about the raider, and then the next part she sees the accusation for silence, so she knows that something's breaking down with her emotionally. She doesn't want to humor the idea that she could not be who she is. So we're starting on her journey for that revelation. And of course, Tyrell's on the same thing. So it's all these great little starts that are done so subtly, and they're weaved together so much so within these simple plots that it's just a master example of what you should do when you're building your story in a show.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't agree with you more, SC. That's
Hey, fellas, did you notice that today was brought to you by the number 2? Think about it for a minute.
okay.
It's the second month. There's a 2 in the 20th day. In 2020, there's 2 2s there.
Okay.
So in another couple days, we're gonna have 5 2s in the date, and then after that, there won't be that in the calendar for
2 more years.
2 more years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 more days.
So today was brought to you by the number 2.
No, really, truly, guys. The for those of you out in chat, the importance of the next 2 days really is, everybody's invited because I will be having a birthday stream. So make sure come to by this channel on Saturday, probably around 2 or 3 p.m. We'll start. We'll go till about 8:30 in the evening, and there will be a nice combination of gaming and panel chats. And again, everybody's invited. If you'd like to be there, just reach out to me on Twitter, hit me up with a DM, and I will put a tweet about it out probably in the morning, and you guys will catch it there too. So yeah, if you would like to pop on by, that would be awesome. And will there be cake? George, I actually might have some of my birthday cake on stream. I think, bless her heart, as sick as my mom is, she wants to make me a cake this year for whatever reason. So I
was actually getting my birthday cake request tonight too. I'm like, oh man, I don't know. Let's go wild with it. Let's go ice cream cake.
I mean, bless my mom's heart, dude. She's in pain. She can't get around well, but she wants to be busy and doing something. So she wants to go and make a cake. And
hey, that's going to make her feel better and also give her something more to do. That's all
Positive
to it.
endorphins.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
I wish her well and a lot of safety, because like she's still recovering from that nasty fall and the shoulder bruise, right? So definitely don't want her to overexert herself, but let her do something sweet for you, and that'll probably be the best cake you've had in a very, very long time too, I assure you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so I also want to touch on the fact, I know I mentioned it earlier on in the stream, but George asked if I'm going to play my new intro, and yes, Saturday I am going to be revealing my new intro that I'm going to use for videos and whatnot. And George Peter Gatzis, big shout out to you, my friend. Thank you so much for your hard work in putting that together. So yeah, Saturday will be my big reveal for that, because it's a really awesome intro. And then I can't wait to show everybody that on Saturday. So it's going to be that's going to be awesome. So
What's up, BJ?
make sure that y'all pop by. I really would like to see everybody. And on that note, I will go around the panel here, let everybody plug their channels. Go ahead, Brian, and plug away, my friend.
Howdy, y'all. I am Brian the Gravedigger. You can find me over on YouTube under Brian the Gravedigger, or you can find me on Twitter at @BeTheGravedigger. Currently kind of taking a little bit of a hiatus this week. I hadn't really planned on doing much, but I still kind of wound up doing stuff anyway, because that's the way life works. My birthday is going to be Sunday, so I'm probably just going to do a StreamYards event because I'm gonna fire up the Wii and play some old school classic games and play some NES, SNES. So I don't know, I might go for a couple hours just
Yeah,
goofing around, kind of a setup like this, but I won't really be able to see what's typed. But yeah, I figured a little old school gaming's the best way to spend my birthday.
Brian enjoys his gaming, and please do stop by and sub and support his channel. Brian's got some good content. He does some gaming stuff.
Little
And you mix it around with the car stuff and stuff here and there.
It all
And to make
depends
it
on the weather,
to
honestly.
make it easy for you, I put Brian's link in the chat.
Awesome.
Gracias, Bear.
Yeah, no problem.
And speaking of Bear Nerd Fun, go ahead, Bear. Plug away your channel, man.
Yeah, you can find me at Bear Nerd Fun, and there may be a late edition coming back soon.
Uh-oh. Ooh.
Yeah,
There we go.
more proper fun like stuff going on, and UFOs and anything that goes bump in the night, and anything that just makes the skin kind of crawl a little bit and make you wonder. Good stories like that happen that affect you that way. Things like that.
All righty.
Soon.
So,
Yeah.
Script Doctor, go ahead, man. Plug away.
Oh, okay. Yes, I'm the Script Doctor. You can find me at youtube.com/scriptdoctor, and you can also find me on Twitter at scriptdoctorphd, where I do reviews of TV and movies, and probably this summer as well, I'll start doing the screenplay stuff when things slow down. So I'll be doing reviews of screenplays that are unproduced and have been they'll never get produced and have been sitting around for maybe 20 to 30 years. We'll just go through that, and yeah, that's about it. I've been awake for 50 hours now, so
And you will find Script Doctor's link in the chat also.
Thank you very much, Bear.
You're welcome.
And big shout out to obviously our friends Orville Nation. If you go to Orville Nation's channel, PJ has some great content, and I've been on there. And so has Bear, and so has SD, I believe. We've all had opportunities at different times to interview some great people on Orville Nation's channel. Some great actors, actresses, and people involved in the acting and entertainment industry, and it's great because we get to meet like such wondrous, awesome people. And of course, again, I want to shout out the great George Peter Gatzis. He's got a comic project, Joe King, that you can go and support the Kickstarter for. And we also have Raquel Briggs. She's a great cosplayer, excellent world-class makeup artist, and someone very, very, very dear to me. So make sure that you just you see these folks around, give them a friendly shout out, support their channels or Kickstarters or what they have going on, and let's lift each other, guys, because if we keep doing that, we keep expanding our voice, good things are only going to happen. So
rise together. Yeah.
So let's do that. And of course, myself, you can read me on boundingintocomics.com. We have new content up every day. My esteemed editor-in-chief, John F. Trent, he runs the show, and he couldn't be a better person and man to work for. I really appreciate John. And Bounding Into Comics, we will always give you the unfiltered pop culture happenings and what's going on. We are not shills. We don't march to the narrative. We give you the facts, and we write from a common sense point of view. So never worry that you're going to get a bunch of dribble like you do on the other sites. And follow this channel, and
And keep in mind, some of us do talk about opinions and stuff like that too.
Hmm.
Yeah. So we express facts, we express opinions, and we like to have a good time. At the same
Exactly.
time.
Always.
We'd
Yeah.
like to find out what the hell happened to Boxy.
Yes, we have
Yeah.
the best. I love our
Methinks
viewers.
he got put into the pudding.
I love our viewers because we have the best boxy theories ever. And man, right now, Adega and Odyssey are in a dead heat for some of the top boxy theories that we have. I mean, they might be 1 and 2 right now. 1 and 1A, I have to say, like they're on fire with boxy theories. So we will see you guys next week. We have a great episode to review for you next week. It'll be season 1, episode 8, Flesh and Bone, and that is one of my all-time faves. I cannot wait to do that episode. So I'm already looking forward to sitting down and hanging out with all of you in the chat, hanging out, kicking it with the panel next week, and we are going to have a ball bringing you the breakdown of season 1, episode 8, Flesh and Bone. So until then,
Hey,
take
Drew,
care of. Mm-hmm.
before you hit that end button,
Mm-hmm.
hey, those of you that missed yesterday's The Fourth Wave on my channel, it was on my channel yesterday. I'm going to put that in the chat. And just to remind you that down in the info of The Fourth Wave, in the info below, there is a bunch of YouTubers in there that you could subscribe to and check out as well. That's involved with me, Drew, and everybody else that that we all
Oh
like to
yeah,
have fun
follow
and
the
all
Fourth
that.
Wave. Those guys, your shows
Yeah.
are great.
The Fourth Wave's in there. I believe Script Doctor's in there. I believe you're in there, Drew. I keep all you guys in the info below, ones that I like to help promote.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, we are going to sign off, folks. So thank you again for spending your Thursday night with us, and we will catch you next week. So much love, guys.
Hanky.
Take care.
Good night, everybody.
Night, y'all.
Night. Here.